Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If it is your first time here, welcome. What this channel is about is simply how do we adopt a continuous improvement mindset in our lives to perform better and to make life easier and simpler. That's it. So yeah, a little bit different than some of the other videos you may be stumbling across on YouTube. I think when I think about making life simpler, and you may have seen my last video about just quitting what I called quitting stupid busy, where just so much of our lives just seem just overly busy. And I don't know how you feel about that, but I reached a point where I was just over it. I still wanted to get stuff done. So it wasn't a case of not doing things, but having more control over the things that I was doing and performing better at those things. And that's why what underpins this channel is that continuous improvement mindset, so we can perform better, make life easier and more simple. That's it. So a couple of things I wanted to share with you today. One is what have I learned since turning 50? So and that's coming up to a couple of years ago now. And it's interesting because the reason why I wanted to share this with you is I have been more productive in my last couple of years than I have ever been. Now, I started on this journey 20 years ago. So what I'd like to think I'm doing is giving you an accelerated approach to not having to be where I am after 20 years, but giving you 20 years of information that you can get there in, well, any length of time. I mean, you can define this sort of stuff. So I'm not going to say shortcuts, because shortcuts usually mean we're sacrificing something to just get somewhere. So we want to get there properly. But definitely an accelerated view. So anyway, you know this. I offer a lot of tips. You choose to adopt them or don't. Completely up to you. Okay. So let's go back to what I was saying. So the last couple of years have been the most productive. It's been a long journey where I've incorporated a lot of continuous improvement principles. So I want to just share a few things with you in terms of why these last couple of years have been so productive and what is it that you can adopt. So there's that 20-year jump because I think I know I've learned more in the last couple of years on the back of this 20-year journey. Okay. Firstly, you might know that I'm a runner. I'm a keen runner. Got into it during COVID. Always been a little bit of a runner, you know, doing the fun runs and that sort of thing around the place. But it was during COVID where everybody's lockdown was different. So the lockdown we had was you could go out once a day and for exercise, for medical reasons, and there were a couple others. I don't remember. It's all a bit of a blur now, and I think a big part of me is trying to forget a lot of it. So that one time we could go out for exercise, I thought, right, I'm going to go for a run. And I knocked out 21 kilometers, just over actually. It was 22 and a bit, which is just over a half marathon. So I thought, great, okay, let's do it again the next day and see how I could go. Now, not overly fit, and my body was definitely in deficit going from one day to the next, but I was running on a lot of nervous energy. So when I went out the next day, again, knocked out, same circuit, 22.5K, boom. And then I went out for the third day because I thought it would be an awesome idea to do 3 half marathons just over back to back. But I got to 10 kilometers and then I collapsed on someone's front lawn. Not super collapsed, let's not over dramatize this, but I was done. I was cooked. And that was just over 50 kilometers in 2.5 days. And I was in no condition to go any further. Someone would have had to be chasing me with a stick to get much more out of me. So yeah, I was cooked, I was done. So from that point I thought, well, actually let's do this properly. And I joined a club, and something I regret not doing earlier, because I felt joining a club would be quite intimidating and everyone there would be a lot faster than me and did it, and not the case. No, there's a whole range of speeds, from walkers, slow walkers, all the way through to runners. And what binds, I'll say us because I've been part of the club for a couple of years, what binds us together is the shared love for just moving forwards. So whether it's walking or whether it's running, or, you know, I'll call both of those things just moving forwards, it's the shared love of that. And then talking, you know, war stories and talking about the shoes we're using and the current nutrient program we're on and what we've discovered and any aches and pains we've got and any tips someone's got for us to get through it. And probably like you, if you do something like a park run, which is a 5K, or you do your first kilometre run or whatever, you want the next one, or at least the one that you're going to do in the next couple of weeks' time or the next month, to be faster than the one you've done now. We all, I think, the sense of progression resonates with all of us. So that was my approach then. It was, I love running. Let's get into it. And again, in my previous video, I talked about how running was a physical pursuit for me at the start, and then it became more a mental thing in terms of I run now primarily for, I'll say mental health. It's not that I go insane if I don't get out for a run. Actually, I smile when I say that because I think I do. I get a little bit of cabin fever. But it's more a chance of just flushing things out of my head, being able to think about things, being able to articulate things that I couldn't quite before, or solve problems or work my way through things, to shake the dust out of my mind. So when I talk about running primarily being a mental thing for me now, that's what I'm talking about. But going back to what I was just saying, so I loop back around, forgive me, is the progression side. So joined a club, wanted to progress, and I've taken that continuous improvement mindset to my running to ask how can I get better and better. Now, I've got the Masters Champs coming up, and there's a couple of 3 events I'm doing down there. It's the 3,000 meters, which if you're talking in old mile terms, I think that would be about 1.8. And a 1,500 meters, so just short of the mile, and 800 meters, your half mile. 800 meters is the focus for me. And I'm going to be aiming, I'll put it on record, and I'll let you know how I go. I'm going to be aiming for 2 hours 14. Now, what's in it for you? Okay, let's go to that. The world record was just for 55-year-old men for 800 meters was just been beaten and improved by Shane Healy, who I'm gonna suggest he's Irish, but I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure he's from the United Kingdom, and he ran it 800 meters in 2:02. Now I'm 52, 55-year-old, and you know I'm going for 2 minutes 14, has just run it in 2 minutes 2. Now, I love that. He's just set the bar for me. Now, not saying that I'm going to get the world record, because that's a massive stretch. That's going to take incredible dedication for the next 3 years. But, this is where it comes in. I know I can get faster. I know I can get faster. So that was incredibly impactful for me, that Shane Healy has set the world record at 2:02 at 55 years old. And I'm thinking, I can do this. I can do this, meaning not the world record, but I can get faster. So I can demand more for myself. So what I'm going to share with you is this, and thank you for your patience, and hopefully I've given enough of a backstory that this will resonate and land and mean something and help you remember it. By having a continuous improvement mindset and by seeing things that change my belief systems, then that helps me continually improve. And that's been the big change between 50 and 52, continual improvement. Because I think you need to be conscious of the stimuli that comes into you and the messages that come in with that. I am at that age where there are some around me that talk about being really old and use that as, and forgive me, this might sound a little bit blunt, but this is just my view on it, using that term as an excuse not to exercise. Not because they can't exercise, but because exercise is hard. And of course it's hard. When I go out for runs now, my maximum heart rate is still 190. And there's a couple of times I've had it over 190. That's not easy. That hurts. And especially when it's over a long period of time. Long meaning, 5, 6, 7 minutes with your heart rate sitting about 190 beats per minute. That's taking a lot of work. But it's because of that mindset I've been able to continue to grow. And I remember this other thing that resonated with me is I remember, now I'm going to get this wrong, but the flavor of what I'm about to share is right. A reporter asked Clint Eastwood why he seems to have boundless energy at his age. And this is recent. And I'm sure Clint Eastwood, tip my cap to you, sir, won't mind me saying that. He's a pretty old guy, but has a lot of energy. Not but, and he has a lot of energy. And that's why the question was asked of him. Why do you have the energy where others at your age don't have? And he said, and it's a mindset thing, he said, don't let the old man in. And I'm a big fan of that. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I'm Peter Pan or something like that. But what I'm not going to do, and this is what I think is your takeaway, because it's worked for me, it might work for you, is take in stimuli that inhibits your belief system in a way that it's detrimental. It's detrimental to your thought process. It's counter to a continuous improvement mindset. Now, I'm not saying, just believe ridiculous things and shoot for the sky or shoot for the stars and find yourself amongst the sky or something like that. I'm talking about being real with yourself, but being honestly real with yourself in terms of not using an excuse as a crutch to not find out what's going on, which brings me to my next point. Why I think I've done more over the last couple of years is I've finished my book. Well, I say I finished. I wrote the draft. It's gone to the publisher. The editors looked at it, come back with a whole bunch of changes and suggestions. I've worked through those, and that was ridiculous. The book's over 200 pages, and even though it's been written and edited, it still took me between 10 minutes and 25 minutes, and I know that for sure because I was recording how many pages I got through every 25-minute block. And sometimes it was one, sometimes it was none, it was just a portion of a page. But you multiply that out, take the midpoint, which is about 17 minutes, and multiply that out by over 200 pages. I mean, that's 3,400 minutes for a start. It was a huge amount of time. It felt like I was writing the whole book again. But the point is this, I've got it done. That was my Everest. Now from here on in, it's home straight. It's going to take a lot of work still, and I've got a lot of polishing, but the bulk of the work is done. I'm on home straight now. So again, if I'm using a runner's analogy, I'm in the last 10K of the marathon, and it took me 32 Ks to get here. So even though the last 10K is going to hurt and I want it to stop, if I stop now, it's going to take me 32 Ks to get back to the same point. So the momentum of what I've done up to this point will carry me through and get this thing, in this case, my book, finished. So if you've got a whole lot of dreams, or you had objectives or things you wanted to do that you haven't got done by the age of, and I'll talk to my age, not yours, but by the age of 52, if you haven't got them done, it's not too late. Get them done. In fact, one of the mantras I have is, if you're finding a reason not to do something or finding an excuse, it's because you still can do that thing, but you're trying to convince yourself not to. So the very fact you're trying to convince yourself that you don't have time to do something means that there is a solution there, and you know it, at least on a subconscious level. So dig into that. It's not too late. It's only too late when you're dead, I think I heard someone say. But what I'm saying is I feel grateful that I revisited some of the objectives that I had for a long time. And I've been writing this book for a long time. I probably started it about 7 years ago. I was having to think the other day, drafting it up in the chapters and how they were going to look and the things I wanted to cover off and the like. Okay. So continuous improvement is crucial. It's helped me do more in the last 2 years in terms of, I haven't got done more in the last 2 years than I did the 20 years before. But what I'm saying is, if you look at the 2-year blocks leading up to now, I feel like I've been able to close more things, get more things done, and tick them off. And the next thing I'm looking at, and especially at this time of my life, physically, I think I'm going okay. You know, I'm able to run. So the other focus I've got is just basically on my brain health. Knowing that I can't, or I shouldn't, or I choose not to eat the things that I used to eat in my youth and be able to get away with that were just nutrient deficient or probably borderline toxic, not even food, some sort of form of plasticized food. And I'm talking about the super ultra processed stuff. Now leaving that out because I know my body functions better on just raw, clean foods. So changing the proportionality of my nutrition, increasing that proportionality of raw, clean foods. So the other thing I say to myself is, don't just eat food, good food. So that's my definition of food. I call food, you know, the stuff that you'd see that are fruits and vegetables, I just call that food. And the other stuff I call sort of like non-food or unfood or whatever. So I don't lump all foods together as foods. I separate them because some of the stuff it's not really food. But this is where I'm going with this. Rather than just eating food because I think it's better for me or knowing that it's better for me, I tag it onto something else. I eat good food because I know I'll run better, and running better means something for me. So rather than it becoming eat good food because that's something I should do, it's eat good food because I know I'll run faster. So running faster is a real motivation for me, and then tagging the food to the running faster helps me sustain better eating decisions more consistently. Well, that's the sustain part, isn't it? Okay. All right, I'm going to wrap it. When I make these videos, I know what I want to share and I know it's of value, but I never know what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it. So if you've reached this point in the video, thank you so much for your patience. Hopefully I've shared something with you that you can take away. So the big takeaway was this: between 50 and 52, I've done more for my running and ticked off more of my goals and just got them done. Got them from something I'm thinking I want to do to actually getting them done. The big part of that for me was having a continuous improvement mindset. And what supported that is making sure that I was watching the right stuff, talking to the right people. This is what I talked about when I said have the right stimuli come in. Having the positive stuff, not the negative stuff. And some of you might live on the negative stuff. Where people tell you you can't do it, you might be that personality that when someone tells you you can't do it, you want to prove them wrong. That's positive stimuli. That's not negative. What they're saying is negative, but it has a positive impact on you. So whatever it is that works for you, just play in that space. So I do catch myself when I'm on YouTube and I'm watching something and I think, do I really need to watch this? Do I really need to watch another video about what's going on in the American politics scene that I already know what the content of this video is about and the craziness that's going on over there and stuff like that? Okay. Do I really need that? And when I ask myself that question, the answer is no. And I go, no, stop watching this. Watch something else. And then I'll come across a running video and I'll learn something from it. So shape the stimuli. Shape what's going on. If you love a good laugh, watch more comedies. Just do whatever it is that puts you in a better headspace. And what I found by being in a better headspace is the decisions I make that are almost on a self-sabotage level start to drop away. Okay, that's the content for another video. But think about the stimuli that's coming in. Think about the messaging that you're giving yourself. If you're saying or coming up with reasons why you can't do something, really pull those reasons apart, because what you might be doing is trying to justify or rationalize why you're not doing it. And the very fact that you're doing that reflects that you are able to do this thing. You're just trying to excuse it away. Don't fall into that trap. Think about the stimuli. Think about what's going on between your ears, and just make it a good place. In a video, I think it was 2 or 3 videos ago, I talked about doing something for you, like finding that space in the day, or finding that one event or that one thing that you can look forward to every day that's super important for you. And I talked about, for me, that was time in the morning where I had time to myself, time to think, time to plan, time to read, time to write. But whatever it was time to myself. So know what that is for you, and that's when you can get some of the stimuli in. Watch the good videos. You have to search for them, actually. If you're on YouTube, you're just going to get the same stuff over and over and over again. So search for them. And look, if you come across a video like this that's only got a handful of views, that doesn't mean not to watch it. You might come across some gold. In fact, some of the best stuff is by people who aren't being watched a lot, because they're quite authentic and they're honestly sharing stuff. A lot of people share really good information for free. It's just a trick to find them. And I hope what I've done is just shared something that's really good, and of course it's for free. You know the story though. It would be nice to get seen by a few others. So if you like the video, if there's something in it for you, the best way to repay it, just click that like button, and that means you owe me nothing. Steal anything I've shared with you for yourself, and or share it with others. And yeah, if you hit like, we've got a deal. Too easy. If you want to stay in the loop with other things, and I can promise you my other videos are not this long, they're closer to sort of 5 to 8 minutes, then yeah, feel free to hit subscribe. But I do these videos, and I'm boring in terms of like looking at me and my background and everything like that. So the good thing about these videos is it is something you can listen to in the background while you're doing something else, something to think about, because that's what I want to do. I want to stimulate thinking for you, sharing my experiences in terms of making life easier, making it more simple, and adopting that continuous improvement mindset so we can progress, we can improve, get better. Okay, take care. Just be easy on yourself, because you're pretty cool. See you soon.